Yeah, I almost want to talk about the Jasper Philipsen thing first, but I think we should talk about Tim Merlier. Sweet and sour day for them with Remco Evenepoel coming down. And I think it was an impressive win by Merlier because he lost his lead out men a few times. And then at one point he was, inside the last, what was it, 10, 15 kilometers, he was actually at the front and alone. So yeah, Patrick, what do you think of Tim Merlier and the performance here and the win?
I think it was really impressive. Like you say, he was really flying solo. Milan was on a absolute armchair ride to victory with his strong lead out in front of him, and Merlier with the half and half team, half for Evenepoel, half for him. A couple of times in the last 5k or so, he basically had to do like a semi sprint just to move up around the outside of a peloton and put himself in a decent position. Then gets pushed back through like the chaos and a washing machine effect, and then does it again almost within the last 2Ks to sprint up to Milan. Like, the fact of the matter is, I think Merlier had to put in a bit more of like a staccato effort, like on and off. And I think it was super impressive that even after those two efforts in the last, 5 minutes of the race, he still had the energy to come round Milan, who, like I said, was on an armchair ride to victory. I think Merlier's performance today was absolutely incredible, and he showed today that I think he probably is the fastest sprinter in the world, and because if his lead out was a bit smoother, maybe he would have won by an even bigger margin.
Yeah, there was that kind of, I don't know if you saw it, Milan from the side angle. He's kind of like he didn't have any more watts just to give that. I just need 5 more watts, but just didn't have it. Okay, we might as well get to the point of the day. That sprint in the intermediate sprint. Obviously, John Thomas won that. We'll talk about the green jersey in a bit. But yeah, what did you think? Jasper Philipsen abandoning the race because of it. When you look at the sprint itself, how I'm seeing it is kind of, I think it was Lawrence Rex coming from the right hand side. Brian Coquard didn't quite see that someone was coming and then hits him and then unclips, and then that ricochets into Jasper Philipsen and yeah, bang, out of the race.
Yeah, I read it pretty similarly. I think maybe Coquard. I mean, the reason why Coquard kind of moved was because Milan started sprinting off of Consoni's wheel, and it was only like half a foot or something maybe. But Coquard moves with Milan, and then like you say, I don't think he saw Rex coming up, so he like clips his handlebar or something like that, and then it kind of pinballs the opposite way to the left, which unfortunately Philipsen is an absolute passenger in this situation. I don't really think anybody did anything wrong, per se. I think it was just one of those unfortunate things that happens in cycling. It's a bashing of wheels, or, a bit of contact at the wrong time. Philipsen, anybody could have been there, or anybody could have not been there. It was just a very unfortunate scenario that Philipsen so happened to be in the way of Coquard coming to the left, and it was such a bad crash, especially considering the speed they were going for the intermediate sprint. They were going at least 50 k's an hour, and he kind of just like flips onto his back. It was a horrific sort of crash to see, and so early on in the tour, after winning that stage on stage one, it was all looking so good for Alpecin. We were saying yesterday how it was just like a first week for them, and now all of a sudden you get this, and it's such a shame to see that one of the big sprinters, he might have even won today, is already out of the race.
Well, I would kind of put the fault at Alpecin in a way, because I felt like not the crash, obviously, but where they had positioned Philipsen, I thought they should have positioned him better for the intermediate sprint, so he shouldn't even have been there. But that's easy to say, armchair, like expert, couch potato, whatever. But yeah, I was very perplexed why he was even there, and the other thought is so annoying that it's like if he hadn't gone for that intermediate sprint, we'd still have Jasper Philipsen in the race. But we wish him the best of recovery because he's a super nice guy in real life. But what do you think going forward then? Are they going to be going for Caden Groves and Mathieu van der Poel? It looked like Mathieu van der Poel was more in the mix here on this stage. And you have this great prediction that we might see Mathieu van der Poel winning the green jersey.
I mean, I was talking about it with my dad as I was watching it. And I was like, what do they do now? Because Groves is, in theory, the faster guy to try and actually win a stage. But if they want to win green, they really need to double down with Van der Poel in the sprints. And all like, you hear the commentators saying how, Van der Poel's not going to be able to beat Milan and Merlier and blah, blah, blah. So it's not about beating them. It's about can he finish inside the top 10 and accumulate enough green jersey points and then extend his lead on the punchy stages. Van der Poel could well win the green jersey, especially since he's now sadly not sharing the responsibility of the sprints with Philipsen. So it's a tricky one. Alpecin are more likely to win the sprints with Groves, but if they want to win the green jersey, I think they need to switch to Van der Poel being the sprinter. He's not an out-and-out sprinter, but I think if you want to win green, that's your best chance of doing it now. So that's what I would do. But obviously, like you say, couch potato. That's just my kind of 2 cents on it, and I don't know whether that's right or not. I feel like Van der Poel's simply in the mix today because it was essentially like a Brugge de Pin sprint. Like, if anybody remembers the Brugge de Pin sprint from earlier this year, it was absolute chaos. Like 3 sprints in the last 5k. It was very much like that today. I feel like Van der Poel's just good at navigating a peloton in chaos, and I feel like that's why he was simply up there. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Should Van der Poel be sprinting for Alpecin now, even if it is only for like 8th place in sprints?
Yeah, because every single point adds up, and if, like you've said, they've changed the points to the stages that suit him a bit more to have those 50 points, he could definitely do it. And with that final stage in Paris as well, that's more a Mathieu Van der Poel kind of stage. So if he's close. But yeah, where did he finish today? Because we'll talk about the green jersey now. Groves finished 7th, so you could have had Mathieu Van der Poel there. He finished 24th, so he was outside the points, which is annoying. But Patrick, in terms of that green jersey, John to Milan leapfrogs Bini. So he had the virtual green jersey when, the crash happened with Philipsen. Now he's 4 points behind John to Milan. Obviously, that's nothing, but that's all because of the stage, because Bini finished 6th. And also in the intermediate sprint as well. So who is the favorite for this? Because now Merlier has launched himself into this now, because now he's 3rd with 63 points. And Mathieu Van der Poel is still in 4th, but he didn't take any points today.
It's tricky because the gap between Merlier and Milan is 18 points. Not a lot at all. That's an intermediate much. It's hard to say who's the favorite. Because I don't think there's any stages where really, but Bini climbs better than the other two, so maybe he gets a little bit of an advantage on some stages if an intermediate sprint falls on the side of a hill or something like that, or on the other side of a hill, so he can gain advantage there. Milan and Merlier are simply gonna have to get theirs from intermediate sprints and the flat sprints. But we've already had 2 of the flat sprints already of the 5 maybe. Like you say, the last stage is not a given anymore. So it's really tricky to say. I think Van der Poel could certainly, with tomorrow and other punchy stages,